Of those 144, 18 of them reportedly appear to exhibit unusual flight characteristics.
With planes coming and going day and night, the captain pushes the throttle, and the big jet starts off.
Appear to demonstrate advanced technology. Some of them appear to remain stationary in winds aloft, move against the wind, maneuver abruptly, or move at considerable speed without discernible means of propulsion.
Soon they are high over the airport, the 4 jet engines working at full power.
There's something they're still not telling us, but we're here to tell you because we know everything. Welcome back to Plastic Lounge Podcast. My name is Grits, and I'm here with Messiah.
Yo.
And Rebel.
It's finally happening again. We're back.
Hope you guys had a lovely Thanksgiving with your families. But today, we're deep diving again into 3 crazy conspiracies that might just be true. And I heard, Rebel, you might have something for us up in the clouds, baby.
It's the cloud-based organisms. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God.
So I want to share a story with you guys that it's a little something that I witnessed firsthand. I'm going to take you back, though. I have to give you some context. Back in March 19th, 1963, granted, I wasn't alive then, Eastern Airlines flight EA539 takes off. It hits midnight, and they're in a thunderstorm. There's lightning flashing everywhere. Things are going crazy. A lot of turbulence. The planes bouncing up and around. And then a flash happens. An orb of light comes from the cockpit. It makes it into the aisle, and it just floats there. This ball of light just floats. It phases through the wall, and it's just sitting there. Everyone can see it. They're afraid. They're scared. They don't know what this is. And then it slowly makes its way down the aisle until it gets to the end of the plane. When it gets to the end of the plane, it just vanishes. It disappears. With that context, I want to bring you guys back to World War II.
Again.
Okay, we're going back to World War II. Now, this phenomenon has been happening for a while. Okay, it's been going on for a minute. All right, so I don't know exactly how long these strange balls of light in the air have been going on, but apparently they're estimating and taking into account at least 300 years.
Wait, every time they're witnessed, do they enter the aircraft like down the middle just like that? Or are they just seeing them in the skies?
Seeing them in the skies.
Okay.
They just witness them and all that stuff. But in World War II, these things got popular. It became such a huge thing for pilots in World War II to be seeing these orbs. There would be people flying, patrolling the skies during the wartime. And then all of a sudden, these orbs would pop up. These bright lights would just be following them. There would be whole squadrons of planes just flying around, doing their patrol, and then multiple lights would happen. Like it's a cluster of lights, not just a single orb, like a cluster of them would surround these planes. And they moved autonomously compared to like, just following the planes. They would accelerate, they would slow down. They would just be like matching them. So these pilots, they'd be scared. They'd be like, holy shit, we're under attack. We don't know what's happening. So they'd be sending in all these reports, doing all like the stuff they're supposed to do. And it became so common-based that they gave these phenomenon a name.
What is it?
Now it's going to blow your mind.
What is it?
Foo Fighters.
Oh, that's where the name came from.
The name came from these strange balls of light, this paranormal phenomenon that happened. Shout out to the band, though. You guys are killing it out there. You've been killing it. But no one knows what's happening with this. So a lot of people speculate that it has something to do with ball lightning. Now, I don't know if you guys know what ball lightning is.
No.
They don't know what it is. Let's be real. They know it's some sort of energy mass, but they don't know how it forms, the physics of it or whatnot. So ball lightning is what they believe is lightning trapped, like it's in a ball form. And it's just like covering there, condensed. So Harvard, they they've been doing multiple studies on this. They studied 87 incidents of where ball lightning happened within planes. Now, going back to your question before, it doesn't just happen in the air. It actually happens more frequently on the ground, which is where I saw this.
You seen it?
If you fuck around with like some lightning, not lightning, but some like electricity and whatnot, you can get like little beads of like electricity to like roll on the ground or roll around, do all that stuff. It's fun. It's cool. It's not as like severe or like out of nowhere. These things just appear. And so they studied 87 incidents all across the world. It's not just America. They had a shit ton in Russia. They have a shit ton in America, and so on and so on. I don't know the other countries, but they classified them. They have descriptions of these. So some they would appear with or without thunderstorms. They can just appear whenever. Their size is, they have an average of 25 centimeters, which is kind of small, I'm not gonna lie. But some were reported to be over a meter wide, which is fucking huge, by the way.
Damn.
Seeing a giant ball of just energy, that's fucking insane. Now they have different colors. They have a yellow reddish color. They have a bluish greenish color. And then some are just white. Some are just like fucking just massive white orbs that just sit there and chill. And they can phase through walls and vanish whenever. And then they studied this, and at least 38% of the time, it ended with the orb exploding. Just like literally rupturing and exploding. And some of these orbs would hurt individuals. Like the people on the plane, they would actually get hurt. Most of the time they didn't, but I don't know how it hurt them. I would assume it's in the explosion. But like these are serious occurrences that they have to like literally document and send whenever they encounter these. All the pilots, the flight crew, they have to actually document and acknowledge this and send it off to, I don't even know where, FBI, I guess.
But is it still happening?
Oh, it's happening. It's not stopping.
No
It's
way.
still going to this day. People, well, they don't know what it is. If it's ball lightning, they don't understand ball lightning. They don't know why it exists, how it exists. It's defeating all physics to them. But with this being said, going back to the World War II stuff and the army and all that, I have a question for you guys and to the audience out there. Do you think this has some sort of connection with all the UFO sightings that have been, getting leaked? Or not really getting leaked, letting the light shed upon them recently?
Yeah.
I'm kind of thinking that too, yeah.
Maybe,
the reports are very similar to this. I don't know. I'm gonna leave it interpretation. You guys tell me what you think.
What if it's like, what if these beings are like traveling via light? Like the vehicle is light. You know what I mean?
That would make sense with all the World War II pilots.
Yeah.
Saying that they were autonomously traveling with them, where they would follow them, but not at their speed. They would just be hovering around them.
Just want to go on record and say I'm a firm believer.
Of the balls of lightning or aliens?
Of aliens.
Oh, same.
All right. Taking place in March. Again, same as yours.
Is it 1963?
It's the 8th. And it's March 8th, 2014.
Great year.
The Boeing 777 Flight 370 from Malaysia departs from Kuala Lumpur International Airport in Malaysia, headed to Beijing Capital International Airport. There was about 240 people aboard, passengers and crew. It departed. 38 minutes later, it sent its last transmission, which was an automated transmission. Kind of like planes automatically report their position and stuff to air traffic control towers and stuff like that. So 38 minutes after it departs, it sends its last automated transmission. It makes almost a complete 180 from its original flight path. After it crosses Malaysia, it's now halfway through the South China Sea. It makes a complete 180, goes back across Malaysia. It's now in the Indian Ocean, over the Indian Ocean, and it's never seen or heard from again. To this day, Malaysia Flight 370 has never been found, or the mystery has never been solved. However, in 2015 and 2016, there were search parties. It was the most expensive aviation search event ever in the history of Earth, and it ended after just 6 months.
They find anything?
They found debris, but that's it. They only found a little bit of the plane. They were confirmed that the debris could have broken off during flight. Didn't necessarily mean the plane had crash landed. The debris that they found, they determined could have fallen off mid-flight and still operated, but it was definitely from Flight 370. In 2017, in January, they officially suspended all search efforts for Malaysia Flight 370, and nobody ever continued to search for it. A documentary came out in 2019, I believe. And in that documentary, there was a professional aviation investigator, a couple of them, who had quite the theory on 370. They determined that the deviated flight path going back across Malaysia could only be performed by someone commandeering the flight. Not only that, but they determined that the person who commandeered the flight had to have expert knowledge of flying airplanes. So their theory was that one of the pilots, either the main pilot or the co-pilot, was going to, I don't know if I can say this on YouTube, but going to do a self-deletion and commandeered the flight. There may have been some sort of scuffle between him and the co-pilot or vice versa, in which case they succeeded. Now, why they were never able to recover the flight is still a mystery. It could have been that their efforts was focused on a different part of the Indian Ocean, or the Andaman Ocean, I believe it's called, Andaman Sea. But it was definitely the investigators' professional opinion that the flight was commandeered. But we will never know. Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 continues to be the deadliest flight disaster involving a Boeing 777.
That doesn't add up.
Not at all.
The one thing that I see as a flaw with that is, why would they fly so far away when they could just nosedive and just do it right there? Why did they have to wait all that time?
They flew double the distance of their intended flight path, almost exhausting all their fuel. Also, when they were about to enter the realm of like the Beijing air traffic control tower, the air traffic control tower knew that they were about to come up on it, so they were requesting pretty much a report from Malaysian Flight 370, but they weren't responding. So the air traffic control tower radioed another plane that was closer to 370, and they were pretty much like, yo, can you radio 370 and find out what the f is going on, why they're not talking to us? So the plane that they radioed successfully radioed Malaysian Flight 370. However, the response that plane got from 370 was just mumbles and static.
I did hear about that.
Do you think they were lost? Do you think something malfunctioned and they couldn't they lost their way.
No, these pilots are like super trained, man.
Even if they did encounter some sort of malfunction or got turned around, they weren't that far from land to where like they wouldn't be able to see it. The way that they got twisted around, they were still like above Malaysia. So these pilots would have like known what to do in that case. It wasn't like they were just over open water, not knowing where the fuck they're going.
Why does every cover up, not saying that this is a cover up, but like, why does every cover up have to do with self-deletion? Why is that always the go-to?
I don't know, man.
Like easiest to like, you can't like quote unquote argue it.
Yeah, you can't explain it like he was crazy, you know, like I guess that's just the easy go-to, but we may never know.
Hashtag remember Epstein. That
I
sounds
think there was
weird.
like some sort of like group or crime organization or something or a terrorist organization that was behind it personally.
There was a theory about that too. However, the like professional aviation investigators from the documentary I was talking about, their opinion on that was that it wasn't terrorism.
Really?
But that's just their opinion though. Remember, there's like 100 different conspiracies revolving around this flight. This is like the most talked about like mysterious flight disappearance ever.
Yeah, we were obviously live during this, and I remember it being talked about quite a bit.
What do you got for us, Messiah?
Oh shit, I'm up, huh?
You're up, baby.
Well, I'll take you guys back, 1947, June 1947, okay? This was 2 weeks before Roswell. There's this guy, Harold Dahl. He had like a couple buddies, his dog, and his kid. They're all out on his boat. And around 2 p.m., they look up in the air and they see these giant donut-like shaped saucers. One of the aircrafts or UFOs or whatever you want to call it started like wobbling and shit and almost like crashes down into the water. And as it's kind of like crashing down, almost like hits its thrusters and starts like shooting up in the air. And as it's shooting up in the air, it's like shooting off this like almost like lava type metallic debris. This debris is like scattered all over the place, goes on the beach and lands on the boat. And the debris breaks the kid's arm and then also kills the dog on the boat.
Not the dog, dude.
No.
Kills the dog.
Oh.
So the saucers, once they thrust back up, the other ones kind of get around it, and then they just go off in the distance silently. So the guy and a couple buddies that he's with and the son, they're like, what's going on? So they're all trying to figure it out. So they go by the beach and they grab some of this debris. And there's a lot to this story, so I'm trying to give like more of an overview of it. Pretty much they collect it, and 40 days after the accident, he was visited by 2 military intelligence officers.
Oh.
I don't know if you guys ever heard of like the conspiracy about like the Men in Black and shit like that.
Men in Black, yeah.
This ties into this a little bit as well, but apparently it was 2 military officers that came to him and they questioned him about what happened, pretty much told him to keep his mouth shut, and they took the debris from him. The military officers, they load the debris on a B-25 bomber going from, I believe, around Maury Island. I think that's where the one base was from, and they were going to some place in Northern California or like mid-California. So they're planning on transporting this debris, quote unquote, 20 minutes after takeoff, right? Mind you, this plane was inspected in like documents like 2 weeks before. 20 minutes after the plane takes off, the plane crashes in a remote wilderness area. 2 passengers parachuted off. 2 pilots died in the crash. According to reports, the story is that the plane had a internal junction box that caught on fire and blew up and took down the plane. But all the UFO conspiracy people, right? They believe that that element or whatever was used and shot from that UFO triggered a series of events and actually took down the plane, whether it be from outsider force or maybe the material just reacted with the plane itself. But essentially the plane caught on fire, crashed, and blew up. Nobody knows what happened. So the question is, and I want to ask you guys this, right? They went through the police reports. They went and talked to the police. Everybody that was involved in this has passed away. When I hear about like stories and tales like this before like the popular crazes, you know, I tend to like believe them a little bit more. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
I don't know. Coming from my opinion, it sounds like all that stuff sounds pretty feasible, especially if it was like, even if that was like heavily radioactive, the material, you know what I mean? That could have messed with so many instruments and shit in the plane. Those instruments they have are like really sensitive and stuff.
Yeah.
So even if it was like highly radioactive, it could have been messing with all that stuff.
I would like to think, this is my theory, that some other government agency that we don't know about took that material, and they knew that material, like they knew they had it, and they went over and shot that plane down to retrieve it.
Like took it?
Yep.
Possible.
Whether it be international intelligence or whatnot, it could be a different country shooting that plane down. But I believe they knew they had that material and they wanted to get it.
You think about it, but power, if that's used to like help power like UFOs, right? You would think that material you would definitely want to at least like get your hands on, you know?
Yeah, reverse engineer.
And like what people are saying is like, if it was like, because some people are like, oh, it was just a plane crash or whatever, you know, like the first one, right? And they're like, okay, well then why? Because there's reports from the Kelso whatever, they like wrote about it back then, and they said like the government was like really like, which you would assume, but like very like no pictures, like roped it off. And then they were saying, why would you load that into the B-25 bomber if it wasn't important?
I'm pretty sure those bombers were also like the most expensive plane made back then.
Oh, they were built tough, Ford tough, dude.
Yeah.
They I was watching a documentary where they could run on one engine, granted, but they would just literally become shredded. They would just be destroyed and they would still get back.
So they wouldn't load that material into that big ass expensive ass plane if they didn't want to guarantee its safety. Do you think that there's a government, not necessarily our government, but a government agency out there just dedicated to stuff like that, but it's a shadow agency, so nobody knows about it?
Like aliens or supernatural,
like top secret, like like X-Files type shit. Yeah,
there has to be.
And they just like, they know about all this stuff, but like it's not public knowledge.
I would say it's not affiliated with any country. It has to be separate.
It's like a NATO type thing.
It's like a NATO type thing, but it's not NATO. I feel like we're just describing New World Order.
Tornado.
Yeah, I did do some research on the NWO.
I was gonna do something about like reptilians and NWO and stuff, but
maybe in part 3.
Maybe in part 3, we'll see.
If you want a part 3, let us know in the comments. We might do it. I don't know. Just depends. Depends on how many likes we get.
Can you get us to 200 likes on this video? There we go again with 3 insane conspiracy theories that might just be true. Please sub, please like the video, and please comment down below what you want to see more of, or if you have any suggestions for conspiracy theories for us to report on in the future. This has been Plastic Lounge. I'll see you next week.